Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, then hi. Today is World Book Day collab by Kernix. That's Nikki and Kirkham's, aka the Monkey Man, and Nikki, his long-suffering wife. I'm doing the book, the B.F.G. The price on this is ridiculously cheap, and this book is very well loved, very well read, and is one of my childhood favourites. Back in the days when I used to read and have the patience to read and soak up information like, a sponge. You saw the Frobscottle page? Well, yeah, I'm kind of doing something along those lines, and that room, the dream room. But I'm not doing it from the book, because the book has Quentin Blake's images, and Quentin Blake's images are simple, but when you look at the book itself, you listen to the narrative in your own head as you're reading, and you see the pictures, and, well, your imagination's allowed to let run riot. So what was in my head at the time when I read them was not always what I saw. Each time, every time would be different. Now, this is from the original, I think it's 1989 movie, where David Jason did the voice for the B.F.G. Oh my god, that film was absolutely awesome. It was animated, so much better than the thing that came out recently. I say recently, it's probably about 5 years now. But it was good. It was so good. Well, in the film, there is a tree stump with cutouts and shelving and a little stool. Well, it's not little, it's massive because it's for the B.F.G, obviously. And his suitcase full of dreams, and it's just a wonderful story. And Roald Dahl was a dark, twisted, moralistic son of a gun. He told stories in the way that kids would understand and would see the world how it really is. Not all sunshine and roses. There was lots of metaphors in his books, and as you read it back as an adult, you can see exactly what he's trying to say. I mean, this guy did Tales of the Unexpected and stuff like that. You know, he'd got very good ideas, and he did it all from a shed in the back garden. He was a really extraordinary man, and he made such extraordinary books. And if ever they try and change his books again, I think I'm going to scream. Because they have tried. They was considering taking out certain things, and I mean, if you've ever read Roald Dahl books, you can see that he's not just telling a story. He's telling people off, basically, in some of them. Telling them that if you do this, then that's what's going to happen. Cause and effect, and that monsters are real, giants are real, horrible people are real. The metaphors of the giants and the twits and the Matilda's mum and dad and all his books. Oh, Danny the Champion of the World, that one. Oh my, I love that one. You could almost see the pheasants dropping from the trees after they've had a belly full of I'm just going to say raisins. Because you need to read that one. It's fab. And when they did film adaptations, the originals are always the best. When they've redone them, they're not so good. And Charlie in the Chocolate Factory always will be one of my favourites, but Roald Dahl didn't actually like it. He didn't like Willy Wonka. He didn't like the fact it was all about Wonka and not Charlie. He wanted it to be darker, and I think he would have approved of the Johnny Depp version. Now, the witches, see, you can tell I like Roald Dahl. love road doll. Sorry, my mouth went dry then. But yeah, at the minute I'm putting pieces of cardboard together. This bit, I've started this at the table bottom, and then I went and watched the film again. I found it on YouTube. I was so happy. I've got the video, but do I have a video player? No. I need to get it put on an MP4 format, so I can just watch it whenever I want. But I looked at the actual scene again, and it was like, oh, that's not how the table goes. So that bit gets scrapped. Although it did work. It did work as a table. So in future reference for my own brain, that does work. And I'm trying to balance stuff on top of it just to get it flat. But anyway, I did it. Stuck it on. And I started doing all the bits and bobs I needed to. And that's before I watched the film and realised I'd done it all wrong. So even the drawing on the actual table, on the back of the tree stump, is not right. That's why I've coloured blocked it. So I know where to put my foil, because I'm going to pad this out with foil to get some sort of depth and thickness to it. And I'm putting the masking tape on there just to make sure that it's stuck down, like a support. It's a lot better when you've got everything in one place and it does what it's supposed to. But like I said, them table legs, they ain't stopping on. And there's a lot of work to this. It looks simple when it's done, but there was a lot, and I mean a lot of work. I started this as soon as it was mentioned in the Discord group. So, yeah, it's been done a while, don't get me wrong. It's just me doing a voiceover now, which is lastminute.com as usual. Well, it feels like last minute. But now you can see I've took away the table legs. And I am now putting a rounder edge on it, because it's supposed to be carved into a tree stump. So you wouldn't necessarily have the table legs. So I'm just rounding it off. I've snipped a bit around the edges so I can get it to round off even more. And what I'll do is I'll glue it and hold it for a few minutes just to get it to settle. Then I realise it's too big, because obviously, again, I don't measure. The bottom doesn't matter about being too long, because I can just snip that off. I just want it to sit nicely in there so there's a gap underneath. So, B.F.G would sit with his legs underneath it. Now, I haven't done the B.F.G. I am not very good at characters yet. If you saw the dragon I did on Dragon and Dresses live, yeah, still sat here staring at me, and I want to bop its head in, because I don't like it. So I think this one will be a future finish project. To finish future oh, you know what I mean. Jesus Christ, I'm at it again. There's something for me to finish later, at a different date, because I do want to put the B.F.G in there, because I think it'll look great, and also a tiny Sophie, because I have tiny people now. I could just paint one. I like them. But yeah, here I am padding out the foil, and I'm just gluing it down as I'm going round, because I will be putting on the polymer clay. And the polymer clay is the Super Sculpey. And I'm going to leave you for this bit, and I'll come back later.
And loves to make a toot. Sophie tries it too. Oh, what a hoot, jumping here, jumping there, a wisp hopper and a banger everywhere. The queen, she was not amused and drank her tea in delight as she told the army it was time to get it right. Those mean old giants had to go, no more children, no more woe. Will, whiz, pop, whiz, bang, feel the bubbles go down. Whiz, bang, whiz, pop, bursting all around. B.F.G made dreams so sweet and created stories for children at sleep. But when it came to the mean old giants, a dream so nasty would banish them entirely. The battle was won, the giants in jail, and the children were saved. The people cheer and the queen she waved. Whiz, pop, whiz, bang, feel the bubbles go down. Whiz, bang, whiz, pop, bursting all around. Whiz, pop, whiz, bang, feel the bubbles go down. Whiz, bang, whiz, pop, bursting all around.
I thought I'd read the beginning of the book, the foreword, supposedly. My brain's not in gear again, can you tell? The B.F.G is no ordinary bone-crunching giant. He is far too nice and jumbly, and it's lucky for Sophie that he is. Had she been snitched from her bed by Flesh Lump Eater, Bone Cruncher, Child Chewer, Gizzard Gulper, or any of the other giants, she wouldn't have stood a chance, but would have been guzzled like a whiff swiddle before you could say Rack Jobbinson. Whisked off to Giantland, Sophie is shocked and horrified by the B.F.G's repulsive neighbours. When she hears they are flush bunking off to England that very night to swallop a few nice little English tiddlers, she decides she must put a stop to them at once. This is a widdly funny, wickedly inventive, golden fizz-wizard of a book, and will be enjoyed by children of all ages. I think you can guess right there why I like this book, because the words make no sense, but more sense than you can ever imagine. It's like listening to me talk. But there are loads of little bits in this book that are just stunning. It's stunning to look at, it's stunning to have your imagination flared through it. It's being able to see this giant of a man with these huge ears and his long black cape and his little brown suitcase with his little, he's going to be big, pipe so he can blow the dreams into the children's windows at night. It's also a wonder why I didn't have nightmares. Because with this, and watching Salem's Lot, and the little kid knocking at the window, it's no wonder I was not tapped as a child. Maybe I was, maybe I still am. But yeah, it's the seeing in your head of Sophie hiding inside the snozcumber, this giant, slimy, ugly green vegetable that's the only thing that the B.F.G eats, because he doesn't eat children. He's a vegetarian. But also with this green slimy vegetable, he makes frobscottle. Now, if you listen to the song just now, that makes you trump. And to him it's sweet, beautiful music. And I'll be honest, in our house, we're all farters. And we all find it hilarious. Even when I fart in the car and we have to open the windows and hang our heads out like a dog. Just a little bit of information that nobody needs to hear, but whatever. This story is just brilliant. She likes the giant, the B.F.G, because he's such a sweet soul. wouldn't hurt a fly, and yet he's bullied by his so-called giant brothers. I mean, they're awful. They're dribbly and enormous, and he's small compared to them. So they use him as a ball, they pick on him, they smash up his place. They're just not nice to anybody and everything. Not even each other, really. So they decide to make up this nightmare because the B.F.G, like I said, mixes up dreams. Always nice ones, and you have to have a beginning, a middle and an end. And this is where he does all his dream mixing and puts his labels on. And he puts them into his suitcase. And these are the ones that he uses his pipe to blow through the window. And so they decide to make up a nasty dream for the Queen so that she understands what's really going on, because children are going missing left, right and centre. I mean, Swedish children taste like Swedes? No. You need to read the book. Oh God, it's funny. Ah dear, it's really funny. It's funny, it's scary, it's... your imagination's allowed to let run riot. And they make this dream, and she sits on the windowsill, dream gets blown in, and the Queen has this really awful nightmare about giants, children going missing, and basically what's been happening. And she finds Sophie on the window, and it's like, oh my God, this is real. So they decide to have breakfast, and of course they have to bring in all these huge things for the giant to sit down. And he tries coffee, and it's like falsum. And he offers Scottle, and Sophie's like, no. And the Queen, being the Queen, our lovely old Queen, God rest her soul, if there was a God or whatever, but bless her, he farts, he toots a good old toot, and she simply just lets it just wash over her head, like the trooper she was. And it's fantastic. I mean, I think I might have to read it again. It'll be the 100th time. And this is also why I call people human beings, because that's what the B.F.G called people. He couldn't say certain words properly. Again, a lot like me. So yeah, I think you could guess why I like this book so much. Dear. You mean Wales, Sophie said. Wales is something quite different. Wales is Wales, the giant said. Don't gobble funk around with words. I will now give you another example. Human beans from Jersey has a most disgustable, woolly tickle on the tongue, the giant said. Human beans from Jersey is a taste of cardigans. You mean jerseys, Sophie said. You are once again gobble-funking, the B.F.G shouted. Don't do it. This is serious and snitching subject. May I continue? Please do, Sophie said. Danes from Denmark is tasting ever so much of dogs, the giant went on. Of course, said Sophie. They taste of Great Danes. Wrong, cried the giant, slapping his thigh. Danes from Denmark is tasting doggy because they is tasting of Labradors. Then what do the people of Labrador taste of? Sophie asked. Danes! The giant cried triumphantly. Great Danes! Aren't you getting a bit mixed up? Sophie said. I is a very mixed up giant, the giant said. But I does do my best, and I is not nearly as mixed up as the other giants. I know one who gallops all the way to Wellington for his supper. Wellington, Sophie said. Where is Wellington? Your head is full of squashed flies, the giant said. Wellington is New Zealand. The human beings in Wellington has a specially scrumdiddlyumptious taste. So says the welly-eating giant. So what do the people of Wellington taste of? Sophie said. Boots, the giant said. Of course, Sophie says. I should have known. See, it's silly. It can be hard to get your mouth around words because they are so silly. But it's a wonderful book. I'm going to keep saying it's a wonderful book. And he calls the Queen Your Majesty. Now, the Queen and me shared a birthday. Her real one. And I always used to put on my Facebook page that Happy Birthday, Your Majesty. And there was a couple of others of it the same day. So it was always my little thing. And I still call it her now. It's just, it's a brilliant book. Read it. Please read it. Anyway, I'm doing the snozcumber. I have cut a slice off and I've cut the end off. Because Sophie's supposed to hide in the snozcumber when the giant comes knocking. Well, he don't come knocking, barges in. And yeah, can't imagine actually having to get in that thing. Blur. Yuck. Now I'm painting me pipe. There is a word for this pipe. I'm trying to look through the book and I can't see it. If somebody remembers, please somebody tell me, because my brain's gone mushy again. It's his dream pipe anyway. And the suitcase is painted, but I need to put some little bits of silver on for the catches. And that pen that's there, I changed my mind on that. Because I look at the actual thing and it looked like a fountain pen. But that net is to catch his dreams with. And all I did was use a little bit of one of them net bags that you have like oranges in or onions. But this one I think was some cutters. Yeah, some clay cutters. There's also a bottle cap and a little piece of wood. And I just stuck it all together, painted it, and there's your net. Dead simple, really. I just looked at a few things on my desk that like needed to be chucked. I thought, no, I'll use them. So the majority of this is rubbish and polymer clay. So it's a recycled-ish project. And the paint I'm using is all acrylic paints. And that's supposed to be rope to hold his bag. And I did kind of break the catch, which I was not impressed with. But in the end of it, it does look, it looks okay the way it is. Especially when I fill it up with the little bottles, and I'm going to use my pens just to put the little shiny bits on that I need, like the catches and the what's them things called? The hooks that go over the top of the rope to hold it in, pins, something like that. That I'm doing now, so we can carry it. Now, obviously, this one doesn't close because it is permanently glued to the top of the desk. And I'm going to do some little scrolls, a little ink well, lots of bottles, and a Frob Scottle bottle. Say that again 10 times fast. Frob Scottle bottle. Oh dear. I had to really think about that one. So there's so what have I got there? I've got suitcase, the net, trumpet. Is it a trumpet? Yeah, maybe. And I'm just dry brushing a few highlights onto this case so it looks a little bit more worn and weathered. And when I use my airbrush, I missed certain areas on the seat and on the suitcase, so it looked like it had been worn a bit. And on top of the desk, you know how you've got old wood, I made sure that some of that didn't get too covered with brown paint. I still got to get the hang of that blooming thing, that airbrush. I made my own paint, so it kept, I don't know what I did to the end, it wasn't coming out properly, it was spluttering a bit. I've just not set it right, but the effect came out lovely, or at least I think it did. So now it's time to glue everything together. Now the base, I used cork that Billy had sent me from Billy Ullman's Creations, And in the end, I end up changing my mind. So I start sticking stuff down, and yeah, I changed my mind and I found a wooden slice, big one, to put it on. Just thought it looked better. And I'm using this to make some more pots that I've got like a glow in the dark. And that glow in the dark actually is what I used on me frog and casting powders. So here's a bottle. Now this bottle, it came with a mini brands thing, and it had resin inside it, and I thought that'd be ideal, because I've used all the resin inside it now. I've used it in all sorts, not just the mini brands thing, and I thought that'd be ideal for the Frobscottle bottle. Oh dear. Yeah, so I cured it as much as you can see it glow. It's like, wow. And I'm doing it right over the pot. What idiot does that? That'd be me. But luckily, I didn't set the resin inside the pot, luckily. It was getting a little bit thicker though, hence why I move it in a minute. See? Oh dear. Brains of Britain, definitely. Ugh. And I've put a label on this to say where it is. And I looked through the film and through the book to find his writing, and I tried to get it as close to as I possibly could. Now, I don't want to do all the way around. Oh, sorry about that shaking. I caught camera. Still trying to figure out my angles on here. I didn't fill the whole of the bottle up because I wanted to put the label there. And I also put down like it's poured out of the bottle. So it gives the illusion of the bottle being glass, but emptying out at the same time. That's my thought anyway. But can you see the distressed area of the desk and the seat? Like his book's been on the seat quite a long time, and the desk's been used quite a lot. I thought that turned out quite well. I'm really pleased with that. But B7000, bit of glue, stick that down, and then what I do is I get my little bottles I've already made and already written on. Now these bottles are so tiny, there's nothing legible on these. They are ridiculously tiny, so I couldn't actually see to write. I was just sort of like faffing about, and I put in as many as I could, made sure the red one was in there because that's the nightmare one, and put some on the shelves, even though in the story they're locked away so nobody gets involved with those and they're not set free. He likes them away out of the way, because there is a mouse in the film. He could knock them over, you never know. But a lot of these glow in the dark. See, some of them are made by putting just a little bit of glow powder in the middle and then carried on with the resin, but these I made them fully on UV glow in the dark. And there's my little pot, and that was just a half filled pot with a little chopstick. No, not chopstick. I say this every time. Not chopstick. Pin. No. Toothpick. And it's supposed to look like another pen inside. So I'm going to leave you with this, and I'm going to say thank you for watching. Please check out everybody else in the playlist, because there's going to be some fantastic stories, some fantastic books. And I hope you really like this. If you do, give me a thumbs up. Give me a comment if there's something you think I should have done. But also write that too. Nicely, of course. And I shall see you next time. Bye-bye.
In a world of shadows, light does sing. Goth unicorn with a blackened wing. Happy she dances under moonlit nights, creating beauty, spurring on delight. Her hooves tap softly to the softest bells, crafting wonders in her sacred spells.